this show is one show that everyone looks forward to, including the discussants here, because every day we unfold something that really concerns us, something that will help us get better at whatever we are doing, something that at the end of the day protects us and helps us live better life. Today we'll be looking at safety management in our homes. Yes, it is imperative at this point because a lot of us are beginning to relax a little bit when it comes to safety. Now, on the social media, the mainstream media, both electronic and the print, a story trended for a while from the 31st of October right up till now. It's still on. And that's the story of a little Ifeanyi who drowned in the family swimming pool. May his soul rest in peace. But a lot of things, when I heard that story, I sat back, I was imagining this boy trying to choke, this boy battling for life. What was he thinking? What was he saying? A whole lot of things, played out in my mind. At the end of the day, I became even scared of myself. I almost didn't want to enter the bathtub to take my bath because I was scared of getting drowned. That's the truth. But then getting scared does not make it any way easier for us to avert or mitigate against emergencies, accidents in our homes. We need to be prepared. When I say we, it's you and I, and on this day we'll be talking preparedness, mitigation, and all of that concerns emergency with regards to accidents in our home. I know that two more people will be joining us as we speak, and I know that Kevin is on the way, but then let me have you introduce yourself. They know you already do.
Hello, good morning. My name is Maimuna Umi Abdullah, aka Coach Didi, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, how did you feel when you read about the story of a drowned boy?
Honestly,
I just want to be sure that I'm okay myself.
No, honestly, and for me, I just thought of my children and the fact that this is something that could have happened to anybody. These are accidents that have happened, and the thing is, studies shows that one out of four deaths in the world is a domestic accident at home. So it's something we all need to worry about.
It's scary, but then let's when we say it, some of us say, okay, oh, I don't have a swimming pool in my house, oh, I don't use gas cooker, oh, blah blah blah. We try to all make excuses, but do you know that there are very tiny things, very big things in your home you do, and you do it without even particularly paying attention to what you're doing. But then if you do it wrongly or follow wrong protocol, you may just run into accidents. Let's say this, we'll come back and talk.
I'm done. I'm good to go.
Junior, you always in a hurry to go at every morning. Just calm down. Hold on a minute and we're done. Okay, go back to your room and check your heater, check the fan and your socket and make sure everything is off before you come.
Because it's time.
Go back there and check. I'm not supposed to be reminding you this every day. Go back there and check.
Oh, this is what I do every day. I've checked everything.
Are you sure what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure they are off? I'm not supposed to be reminding you. Are you sure they are off?
Yes, ma'am.
If I should go in there and see any of the sockets on, you will see what I will do to this boy.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah, it's back.
Mama Junior, you don't tell. How have you been now?
I did fine.
That's just a sign.
Let me be that. This time, this way.
How your children did?
They got fine. They did fine.
Okay.
They did fine. See, there is this time I would like you to make for me.
Which stuff be that?
I see them for your page.
Show me a beg.
I get where they go here and for that way.
Show me this time, make I see.
I beg, see them.
Make I see.
Think something like this.
Mama Junior. Why you select this time?
You know it. See this time, now you two will see them.
I check
You see, I'm saying if I package it, if I wear this time, the first way I don't bump it, don't me say make I just.
I see how this gown show.
With the market now, no.
Mama Junior, this cloth fine. It is very beautiful. But you see, I get another fine cloth where I will show you.
You know, show me. You know, cannot like it. Not
make I show you.
I don't want extra style.
Wait, trust me now. Make I show you. See this time. Wow. As you dey hold your phone, they check. I been they check, master.
this number now. Who am I keeping this number?
Now who dey call
They
you?
have been disturbing me.
Just pick now. If it's the emergency,
It's
see
all
you.
those strange number. They fit be 419. I don't like.
Abi.
Please hold on. Let me pick this call.
Okay.
Hello.
Wow.
What happened?
Nice.
Yes, it's my house. Emergency what? Emergency in my house? No. It can't be my house. It's not my house now. Emergency. Fire outbreak. Where in my house? Oh, my enemy don't come. I told this boy. My enemy don't come, oh. And this boy say he don't off everything for house. Hey, where will I start from? My house, emergency in my house.
No. Sit down here.
My house, oh.
You need your tree.
All right, the show is conversational. You just saw that lovely piece as we talk. My friend is already stepping in, just walking to the studio. Yes, and I know that emergency management is one area that she's going to lend us a voice, art. Thank you for coming on the show.
morning.
How was the
Thank you very
traffic? I
much.
know it was horrible. But you managed to beat it.
And yes, I managed to beat it. Thank God for that.
Don't worry. It's the season. We'll continue to find a bit more of it. Let me let you take a break and relax a little bit before we start. But before we took that break, you and I were just discussing about what happened to, Davido and Choma with their little boy. And you told me how you felt. I know you manage a lot of emotional people, especially women, in your program. Tell me, how do women relate with this kind of situation?
Like, we're all different, like I said, but it's the same thing. This is definitely traumatic. However you look at it, it's a traumatic event for the whole family, for their loved ones, anybody who knows them. It's even traumatic for us who just heard it. Because something like that happening, there is no way it doesn't affect your whole life, especially for the parents. It's really sad.
Okay, I hope you're relaxed now. So it's your turn to introduce yourself to the
I have a
audience.
mic, is it
Because I'm
okay?
sure, yeah, we're hearing very well.
Okay. So, hello, good morning again.
Good
I
morning.
love your blue.
The sky
My
is
name
blue.
is Tokumbogiwa Amu. I'm a life coach, and I just help you move from where you are and to a safer space, to a more desirable place where you would like to be, and sometimes even help you manage your emotions.
I know you're a coach, but then I know you also started a new job
Yes.
that has to do with safety, which is why we.
Yes.
Okay, tell me
yes.
more about.
So it's called We Can Access,
Okay.
and
We can and
we can WCA.
Okay, we can
We can
access,
access.
okay.
So basically, what we do is try to make your more accessible, make you more accessible to people that are living with disabilities. One, or make your environment more adaptable for people that are living with disabilities. Just throw caution in the air to say, you know what, whatever it is, however you think you are right now, might be safe for you, but it might not be safe for somebody else.
Yes.
So how can you make this, your environment, in fact, your language, your the colors you wear, things like that, a bit more adaptable. Is it adaptable, or just pleasant and helpful to the needy, to the less privileged, to the disabled, people living with special needs, just everybody around, so that we're able to live harmoniously together. Something like that.
I think that this job is interesting. You'll get to tell me more about it. But let me move on to the safety expert here. I know that a lot of forum, I've heard you give talks on safety, security, and all of that. I'm wondering, what are those very little things we take for granted in our homes that ultimately, leads to accident, in our homes? I saw one with the sockets, and that's actually very real. A lot of us try to poke with biro or even car keys to be able to plug. You know how you have socket, what do you call the charger?
Yes.
And your charger is
Two pin and maybe they have it.
and you want to plug direct. You see, a lot of us will use either fork
Yes.
or
Broomstick, pen.
me, I always use my hairpin. all these things,
Right.
conductors, will it shock me or something?
Of course, some of your hairpins are metals, not
not copper.
Yeah, not copper. No, not necessarily conductors or plastic or something, because conductors are basically things that will be able to pass through. Current can pass through it.
Okay.
To it. But the challenge we have is that a lot of these safety tips were taught us in primary, secondary schools. But we never took notice of it. In your integrated science in those days, we used to do integrated science. You find out that certain things you don't need to do with electric, which is safety precautions that are needed. Then over time, we kind of look at things, from that I don't care attitude, especially when there's no continuous learning, of that. And that is why you find us easily using a car key to try to push the head of the sockets to see if we have access to our 2-pin, charges,
Yes, charge.
which is a very
You're guilty.
dangerous thing to do,
You're going to
because
swear that you will never do it again at the end of the day.
sometimes passive currents, you have a negative positive, connected to the system, but sometimes you have leakages. And so the pin you thought there's no current, something just flows through it and it gives you a shock. And when you have situation where the house you're living is not earthed properly, earthed, what happens also is that you're not wearing any footwear, and the slightest ions that just drop takes you up down. If you have light hearts,
So how do I know my house is earthed? I mean, if it's not my own.
you'll get to know if you want to be sure. Touch metal things, your gas
In the
cooker,
house.
that is, you see how the current moves. Now, ordinarily, we have this flowing through our body, because if you do less of trainings or exercises, you have more ions flowing through your body system. So we are human beings who carry currents. If you've ever touched someone and you have just touch it. Same thing goes with outdoors. In our offices, we don't even understand the safety precautions are needed to be done. So every building is supposed to have the safety charts. Your way of escape, what needs to be put off once you're done. In fact, with today's reality, technology makes it easy. I monitor my electrical system via my phone now. So it's easier to know, okay, what's not. So my kids know, okay, as you're leaving your house, everything behind you should be dark. So we're going to check to be sure. Too, with the fact that you're paying, if you're doing prepaid, you want to be sure that you're switching off those things.
Make sure you switch it off.
That helps. So safety, because it's in the fallout of safety that you also have security. Security of life, security of property, security of the environment. If there's no safety, you don't have security. You have to be safety conscious. You have a swimming pool. What are the safety measures put in place? How many kids do you have that can access the swimming pool? When can they access the swimming pools? How difficult it is for that child to access the swimming pool if you don't have those measures put in place? Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have a situation where I think it's actually an endemic thing. Someone builds a house for 200 million and have safety measures of 20,000 naira.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they even pay security men 10,000 to guard a property of 2 million.
No, that's even good. 200 million.
200 million, that's what I meant.
Go to most of the government establishments, you see guards that are being paid 15,000-20,000 naira guarding those places. It makes no sense. It's a disservice not only to this, and that's why we find it easy for people to breach or to undermine the system. If you're driving along the street of Abuja, most of the manholes are gone.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Honestly.
Some people are stealing it.
People
So
steal them.
why are they stealing them? Why isn't it difficult for them to steal? It means during the time of project management and the life cycle of the project, it was not considered as something that could result to safety issues, resulting to security issues. They didn't consider those factors. So professionals need to come in. That's something we're doing in the office. We started a new training on risk management and leadership, which is that we needed to be able to let you know the basic threats you face, not necessarily based on stealing your phones or your life, but the things about your light usage, your energy consumption in the office. How does it relate and affect the operationality of the general office? If you are wasting power frequently, how does that affect our cost of production? Those are factors. If at home we do the same thing, so we're up with NTA now, we can actually give some discounts.
What's that for me? You mentioned something about telling the kids don't. Now I want to say something. Don't think of a pink elephant.
You think about it.
Did you just think about it?
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. That's how the mind works. When you say don't think of this, your mind will automatically go to it. So it's always best to just be on the positive. I don't know what is it about the mind and negativity, you know. So instead of telling, like you said, instead of telling them don't, tell them do this, do that, do this. Don't even go with the don't.
Right.
You know,
it's not necessary to even tell them why.
From us, if the story of the Bible is to go by, remember when they say eat all of this,
Yeah,
don't eat
eat
this one.
That's the one.
That's the one we had to find.
But to bring it home, if you look at it, you have negative, positive ions in your electrical component, right? The negative is more powerful than the positive.
You see, it attracts.
The negative, so negative oftentimes attracts. Authority is resisted, but resistance is attracted. So you'll find these situations. When you say don't, inquisitiveness comes in. He said, you see this thing, if you touch it, this is what's going to happen. So when you explain things to children, even adults,
and once the purpose for a particular action is known, it's easier to comply. Now, let me go back to the very thing we're discussing, which is safety in our homes. I just want to establish lots of ways this can happen. You know, there's this thing we cook with women.
I'm sure he cooks.
He cooks. Yes. So he's included. So we cook with the frying pan. And a lot of times when we are cooking, it's positioned with a long hand. We do not,
Turn it around.
a lot of times, turn it around
to the side.
to ensure safety. And there are toddlers there. You know, I recall a little girl who was just 1 year, you know, tagging on the mom. The mom was cooking right at the bag. By the time she moved to the front, she pulled that oil.
Oh dear.
So the whole thing, emptied on the baby.
Whoa.
You know, both the whatever she was cooking, the oil, hot. You're shivering. It happens. He emptied on the baby, 1 year old baby. You know, so a lot of times I know that where, you know, sometimes whether it's natural or not natural, we're overwhelmed as women. But then safety in our homes cannot be, you know, compromised. In your kitchen, how do you position the knife? I recall when my kids were growing up, almost everything I had went upstairs. What do I mean? I had to build something round, all the kitchen cabinets, everything went up. So if you're not up to maybe perhaps 10, 11, 12, tall enough to go to the highest part of the house, you will not access anything. So the floor was bare. So in our homes, I'm wondering, are we thinking seriously about such safety in the homes beyond the kitchen aspect, even the bathroom? A lot of times we have heard that people die in the bathroom from sleep. You know, they sleep off the
accident.
How do we begin to stop that? I know about the foot mats.
Foot mats and things like that. Really. You know, but it's just, I think it's also culture. Things that we're not used to, because you're used to from maybe having a bath in the open. So you just walk out and you're walking on sand. So we have sort of evolved now. We think that we have evolved now to you have a house where you have your own bathroom, but still, you think I can just come out and you don't towel your body immediately. So I always even tell my children, when you have your bath, stay there and wipe dry before you step out. What's the towel there for? You just come out with the towel and the towel is in your body, but you're still wet. You know, so stay there, wipe. Make sure or slippers. Put your slippers right in front of you.
Exactly.
My children
because usually the room tiles are smoother than that of the bathroom.
So step on the slippers and then move. And little things like that, you know, and just make sure that, you know, the door is, first of all, if the door is shut, then you have to think, you know, there's many things in your head. If you have more things to think about, then you don't rush out of the place, as opposed to, I'm just going to come out and I'm going to move. You know, because it's like even in life, you just need to pause a little bit and think about the next step that you're going to take. So even in it, accidents can be, you know, just, you can let go of so many things by thinking a little bit. Pause and think just a little bit. You know, when he was talking, I was remember now you say dwell on your strengths as opposed to your weaknesses. You know, so if she was talking about don't say don't, so don't say can't. What are the weaknesses? Forget about those ones for a little bit. Dwell on your strengths. If you think, oh, how can I get better at this? Oh, this is what I like to do. Then, you know, you think you want to do more about it. You don't want to think a little bit about the things that you do. So all those things help you.
Big deal.
Yes.
It's a big
deal. So if you think a little bit before you move, which is just everything about life, so many things can be avoided. If you just wait a little bit. You know, they say, if you want to say something, think first before you say it.
May I add that, apart from just thinking a little bit, as parents, we have to also be intentional. Our kids watch everything we do. if you're an intentional and a conscious parent, all the safety measures you want in your home, do them.
Right.
The more you do them, the more they watch you, they see you do it, and then they will do
Yes.
it as well. Of
Yes.
course, they are still kids. You're going out for the day, switch off lights.
Switch off the lights.
You're living the
Unplug
going on a
everything,
holiday,
you know?
unplug everything.
Switch off
You know,
everything,
if you do it constantly, believe me, no matter how, they will begin to imbibe it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also, you know, it's a burden on the parents as well. It's a responsibility on the parents to show the kids how to take care of themselves and their on the home.
I agree with you. I think there's another point we need to also look at. What are the standards set by the government in bringing some of these things we want to enjoy? It's like we talked about transiting from the local way we walk through the sand to have a bath to having foot mat, the bathroom mat, bath mat. That kills so many people. Even the the bathtubs that we use kills so many people because we didn't know how to use these things. We just wanted to be like them without understanding the safety measures that are required, and because the government on the part also failed to educate the citizens on these things and set standards. If you want to bring in, you know, bath mats, these are the standards you must set based on our peculiarities. The tiles we do, how do we do our tiling? Oh, this is beautiful. It's glazed, and we just use it instead of using,
specific ones for bath,
specific ones for bath, for kitchen, for the parlors and places we know that's thoroughfare. We don't consider those factors in building. We just like something, we just do it. And the professionals are supposed to be helping us also, and also not helping us because they want to collect money from the client. If they advise the client, it says no, they want to do it and make their money and just move on. And there are no standards set, no monitors to ensure this is done appropriately. Then at home, we as parents, I mean, I used to tell my kids, don't do this, don't do this. And I realized that they keep doing it and it gets me upset. So what did I do? I started doing myself.
There you go.
Without saying anything, I started doing myself because I realized kids will always do what they see, not what you say. So I started doing myself, and in some cases, cautioning them, showing them, you don't hold knife like this at home. It's behind you, beside you.
Why are you even holding
I
that?
wonder.
No, if you're going from, if you pick from the kitchen, the knife stand to want to do any shopping, you don't walk around like this. Anybody can bump into you. So you walk with the knife turned insidewards beside your hand, your lap or your body. So you walk around. So if somebody don't open the run and play or do something, bump into you and get injured. Safety measures. You don't just start frying without putting the handle on the other side. If you want to bring it out, you must be holding it while you're doing that, because sometimes if you do stir fry things, you want to continue all that. And be sure.
No, if you're holding it, you're already having a safety.
Are we buying cutleries or utensils that are specific to our other things? You have a gas burner that is not deep. The burners are not deep, and you have fry pans that are beveled. Then that's an accident waiting for you to happen.
A small pot on the burner.
So we need to all those factors. Don't just buy things because we want to buy things.
Or because you saw somebody using it.
Yeah, because I saw someone using it. I just wanted it.
It was,
there's something that came to my mind now. You know, not digressing, but there's a song that somebody released. I don't know who sang it. How are you, my friend? Right? And so I was just thinking about, when we're talking about safety and just where are you, how things happen, and you haven't seen somebody, back in the day. Everybody was everybody's responsibility.
True.
You see somebody fall down, you be like, or you haven't seen somebody say, how are you? How is this your child? But now nobody's really interested. You don't want to say, do you understand? No, you don't say, you be like, what's your business? You don't even know who your neighbor is. You don't know things like that. But so you see, if we can even a little from there, how are you? What's going on? I haven't seen this if I haven't seen you yesterday, I hadn't seen my brother from morning till about 11, 12. I thought that was strange because where I work is just in front of his room because it's like a makeshift office. Instead of working online, usually he just appears and he says, "Would you like a Sprite?" I'm like, "No, I don't drink Sprite during the week." So, but I was working till 11. I hadn't seen him. I thought that's so strange. I haven't seen him in how many hours? I should have. I thought to myself, I didn't even ask where is he, even though we're in the same house and if we just take 1 minute to say,
check in on others.
Yeah, exactly. Check on, and even the tone of the person. Are you?
It might just save a life.
Yes.
Sometimes a phone call, someone just came up your thought, and you call the person, and the person is going through a crisis situation already.
Yeah,
heart attack is taking place.
Exactly. So even the tone in the
at that moment, he can't take the phone.
Okay,
no, sometimes they do. When you're trying to pick up,
you can actually
still talking about the safety in the homes. I was in a meeting with some people, some time ago. That's last year, I think. And then while there, the security man kept calling a particular lady, and she wasn't sure what was going on. She stepped out, and the security man said, "Your house is on fire." She quickly ran. The house had nearly burnt out.
Wow.
What happened? There wasn't light from the public source for a while, so she decided to start warming the things she had in her fridge. In the course of warming it, she was also dressing up anyway. So when she felt she was almost running late for some meetings, she forgot there was a last bit on the pot, and she went to the office. So while she was there, the whole thing had dried up. Oh, I don't know whether it's soup or something. It had dried up. The pot had burned. Everything was burnt. So I thought to myself, and I said, okay, what my mom used to do, I decided to go by it. I guess we should just share it. Before she goes out, she moves from room to room.
Right.
To check things. The gas cylinder, which of course is outside, she'll still go outside to turn it off. Just in case by some funny emergencies, some spiritual lighting happens. Just turn it off, So she moves around and I check the taps. A lot of times when the tap is not bringing water, we leave the tap on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And before you know it, there's flooding.
Yes.
You can be in your office, you can be
Flooded.
sleeping, the water starts flowing right back. In fact, even when you're in the house, the sound of the water running becomes a rhythm for you to sleep even more.
Really?
Yeah, and if it's a hot weather, the water seeps in.
Yes.
It actually helps you cool down to sleep.
Cools you down. Yeah.
It's true. So it's important before you sleep, check your tap head, check your gas cylinders.
Especially when you have kids with you.
Especially when you have kids, because you may not know, your child might be playing. They will turn off the gas, the burner,
Yes.
mistakenly, and they've seen you do it on and off. I've actually seen a child do it. So
Sometimes
I
it's
noticed that the boy was always, when I go away, he will come in. My nephew. I called him and told him this is on, and fire will come. This is off. He was excited. He wanted to do it more. I allowed him. He continued off and on. And I said, do you know this fire will burn you? He said, how? Did you say Batman? He said, I think I'm Batman or something. I cannot die. I said, okay, bring your hand. I did that.
There you go. That's
I got it closer to the light area. And they hit. He didn't get it. But he shouted, Mommy Lizzie. I said, yes. Now, if you do that, it's going to burn you. And when you do this and go, the whole place will be filled up and all of us will die. Do you want to die? He said no. I did the explanation, and that was how that thing stopped.
Wow.
Because I got scared. So there was a night I didn't check. I went to bed. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I felt like the whole house was on fire. I ran to the kitchen to go and check the gas burners. Yes, but luckily he hadn't done anything. So that was when I made a mental note to make him understand. Like we said, don't tell them don't.
Yes.
Tell them why they should
exactly.
not.
And show these,
so that would take
Tell them what to do.
good practical
Instead of what they shouldn't do.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what are the other things that could happen at home, and how, as parents, especially women, really? I know that Kevin is a framon, is a father and mother. That's what that framon means. So how do we begin to ensure that the safety in our home is top paramount? How do we begin to teach our children? What other incidents happen?
Deniability, you're making it difficult for kids to have access to things they know they will not have control over. If you ever experienced flooding at home, maybe as a result of left open faucet, maybe there was pressure and there was no pressure, you forgot. Suddenly water just was restored and it's just flooded everywhere. It means that you need to take out things that normally would get destroyed on the floor and place in higher elevation. Then you also want to let the kids understand the cost of the damage of either of this and others. See, kids, right, as small as they are, no matter the age, they have the same size of brain with adults. Comprehension is where the challenge comes in. So what you want to do is to constantly educate the kids on the things will cost you so much. Whereas your madness will become something else, because when you come back one day and you get to the house, if you have a toddler, and the toddler has poured the powder milk everywhere, and today powder milk is you know, you want to go mad, or
No, just
take
relate it to their own need.
Yes.
Tell them if this milk finishes, there will be no.
or takes your
buy you
phone
ice
or
cream
your
tomorrow.
iPad that thing is dirty to go and wash, you know,
Ah,
on your behalf. It's happening, right? You know, the day my little boy there puts his sister's iPhone in the water. I almost went mad. I'm like, are you out of it? Say it was a mistake. It's not a mistake. Why would you be in the bathroom with the phone in your hand?
Yeah.
You know, so allow us to start teaching that. So we need to look at our costs and use that opportunity to teach the kids on what needs not to be done. Then we ourselves, like she said, be more intentional. Because one thing just saying those things and I say don't do it. Then you comfortably will leave lights on. You comfortably will get this done. No, they watch you. They also want to try it. You know, if you walk around every now and then half, completely unclad or something, or half naked, then you're teaching them something to do. Yeah. So what if there's emergency? What happens? You run out like that? Or what happens? So what are the closest points? Where do you leave your keys in case of emergency? How do you get access to those keys? If it's a car key, if it's a door key, how do you get to know? Have you taken your time to do simulation in darkness? That in case there's darkness and nobody's, my kids know that once there is smoke in the house, lie low first, right, and gradually walk through the path that we've already set. We always do have our safety emergency drills. I mean, that is something, maybe because of my background, but because I also see this happening anyhow. Like you said, those spirits will just come one day and cause one thing. So we need to consciously do safety emergency drill. Well, now, if anything happens, what happens? Do you have fire safety? Do you have fire extinguishers? Do you have access? Is there any marking to show us this is the exit point? If one of these places is completely dark, do you have those neon signs to indicate passageways? If we live in a neighborhood, are we constantly engaging our neighbors to be sure of our safety, then our security, or we just mind our business because everybody is class test syndrome disease, enabled. So we just mind our business, or we're looking at good neighborliness, not because we want to share anything from them, but so that we can hold them accountable. So when there's a new person that pops in, what question to ask. So those are measures we must take, and it also builds consciousness in our kids. So when they go to school, let them also ask questions. Yes. Do they come back home with flus every now and then and we don't say anything? We don't ask the authorities questions to be sure if the classrooms are properly ventilated, or they are excessively using ACs, or if those places, those who have like this and who have those kind of schools that they go to, AC air conditioned places, or is the type that we went to, all bare, the windows are all
you barely had fans.
And with the mattresses now, by the time you come back from school, you have your bath in the morning, go to school. But when we went to school, by the time you come back, you're all looking dusty because the maternity season. Is it the type? So what measure are we taking? Do we build more of our immune system, to be sure that when these bacteria and the fungi, all this comes in, we are built up?
May I add something?
Yes.
I see, and not just that, we've said it all the precautions we should take as parents and caregivers. At the same time, we should also be conscious of the fact that accidents do happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do the best we can, but accidents do happen. And when this accident happens, how do we react?
Minimize.
A child can make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
So we also have to teach them to fail forward. You made a mistake, you left the tap on, and the room was flooded. Look what you did. Let's clean it up. Teach them to learn from the mistake.
I actually had experience about less than 4 weeks ago. I went on a trip, and then we stayed in guest houses, me and some other friends and relations. So where I was staying, suddenly the tap stopped running. I had the other person staying opposite me, and we went out. I didn't know she didn't lock up. Yeah. By the time we came back, like 6 hours after, I was entering my house. She was entering her own. The next thing, my phone was ringing. I said, did she forget something on me? So I said, sis, what's going on? She said, I better go. I'm living inside the Lokoja River. I ran back, and it was like the whole place, her box, her shoes, everything was flooded. We swept water that night. We swept. I said, let's call the management. She said, no, they will tell me I spoiled things. I swept water until my waist was paining me.
Recently, a friend of mine, right?
So it's real.
Woke me up at night. Her house was on fire. Now they live in a block of flats. And anyway, she called me in the middle of the night, like past 3 a.m. or something. So Google is your friend, right? I Googled fire service Abuja. Thank God they appeared. So I went to see her, and she said, what happened? Apparently, the inverter of the flat downstairs blew up.
Wow.
Guess what? So everybody has a key to the main entrance, but the gate man. Wow. So the gate man was there banging and shouting and making noise and everything before anybody could hear. But I mean, the fire went up, but didn't go into the houses. Thank God for that. But see, that's another security thing. I'm wondering, how do you get out of that? Because you're securing yourself from people outside, and then this happens to you on the inside.
So the first thing first, is to do proper vetting before you recruit your guards.
Right.
Now, like we said something here that you build a house of 200 million, use 20,000 out to guard it.
Right.
You want to get a security guard. You're looking for somebody you can pay far less, because for you, what he's going to be doing is just opening the gate.
Right.
And probably, make it difficult for people to just walk in just like that. But that is beyond that. Security is way beyond that. You're building a house of 200 million. You should at least budget nothing less than 10% of that amount of money to secure your house.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
important, just like insurance.
10%.
Wow.
Because once you do up to that, it means it reduces your insurance premium for that property, whatever you want to do. So even yourself as life, if you do life insurance, if you have other measures put in place, you have the right security, you also reduce your cost for life insurance you want to put up. So that for them to get that guard, what they need to do is to have the right guard. If you do proper vetting, have the right guarantor, then it means that you can give access to that
a lot of
this
things.
because if you have, why do you even have the inverters put under the staircase when it's humid, not accessible, no air?
That's the question I was going to ask.
No air, because the thinking that it's inverter is inanimate, so nothing happens to it. But it goes with electricity, so heat comes in. After a while, it blows up. The elements and the diodes, all of those components start reacting
under the staircase, and
so it will blow up. Because the batteries after a while to get the same thing. That's why you are encouraged to put those things where they're properly ventilated. So good assessment is key. That's why the risk assessment comes in place. If you do risk assessment, okay, if I need to put an inverter in this building, we know the exact location to put that inverter and are accessible for maintenance purposes and for security.
Honestly.
So those are factors. We don't do those things.
At the end of the day, if you ask me, if I have to get a security man that I can't trust, then I don't have anybody. Meanwhile, a lot of people are writing in what you talked about inverters. Somebody also mentioned here last week that sometimes they connect wrongly our inverters to our eating system in the house.
Why would they connect it wrongly
and then
if they have the right people?
Yeah, that's why I say he was actually talking about quackery in this business, that the owners should be more attentive to setting the
I
right
think it starts
standard.
with government. See,
I really don't want to get government.
let me tell you why. No, let me tell you why.
Because everybody understands the do's and don'ts, and a lot of times
let me tell you. I agree with you, but let me tell you why. Where there is standards, if you must be an inverter installer, you go through certification as a must. You that is a client that uses someone that is a quackery, you're punished for it. People will change. In Canada, even if no matter your level of education, once you get to Canada, you must go through the system. You must be certified to even serve water. You must be certified to even serve water.
A whole lot of other countries are doing that.
So once you have certain standards,
with Lisa here for this one, you know why? Because for example, sorry to use this as an example, the how many story building that crashed in Lagos. So the government had checked him. They had.
No, government checked.
Yeah, so they checked. But who is this guy now that decided to add?
No, there were reports.
It's people that are in government.
There were reports that indicated that this
guy is going beyond.
And why there were certain complaints. Some other person pulled that. When we have standards, people are punished, held accountable.
Right, so yes, that's what it is. Be held accountable for what you do.
2 days ago, somebody sent a cargo via a certain, motor courier stuff. I don't want to get involved in the name because it's not their business. Yeah. So she insisted on a receipt, and a receipt was given to her by the person that took the goods. But somehow, at the point of collecting it, the office, because she assumed it's legal, she went straight to the office, and there was no documentation of that. So they found out that it was actually done through the back door. The characters involved, both the driver, the person that collected, the person that received, they were all sacked as at yesterday. So I was duly told. Somebody was asking me if I knew somebody less plead. I said, "Are you asking me to plead for illegality?" That's not me.
If the
Because-
sack was done based on the book,
Yes.
signed,
Yes.
because if the employee signs, a rules book and indicates that if you do this, it's just a sack,
They know.
then that sack is legitimate.
They
if
know
it's
it's
not part of the rules,
legitimate.
that employee can actually go to the industrial court and
So
seek redress.
they know it's real. So I said I'm not going to plead for that. But why I brought in that story is a lot of times we Nigerians, we know
What is wrong.
that is wrong
yeah.
So go
to
ahead.
take a electrician who is not certified to wire your house. We also know that this cable we're buying, it's not original, but then it can carry the load.
Why do you
So
think
we
it's
still
so?
do it. We're trying to shortchange ourselves as long as I'm concerned, because the money you're saving
when did
today,
we start checking for certification of
you still
electrician?
spend it tomorrow.
People do.
Certification of
Anyway.
electrician.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
do.
they do. So
Even the
let's
cables, people do. If you
let's-
find cheap cables in the market and you think, why so? I mean, because people are benefiting, nobody's being
Yeah,
punished.
nobody's being punished. That's
Until
what
we, as citizens, because we don't have enough, we're looking for ways to cut corners to reduce our cost.
even when we have enough, we prefer to have the money in the bank. Let's read some of the messages coming in. Somebody says here, is it responsible to call someone from sleep to operate gas cylinder around 4 a.m.? No.
Oh,
That's-
you do
that's-
anything.
that's the
There's
personal-
something. Yeah,
that's
there's
the
something.
personal-
This is
that's the
this
personal
is
issue.
a different matter here.
Now, if it's a house help that has been made to do that, it means whoever that is making that feels that is a right. Person has lord over that individual.
Person.
How do you wake up somebody, go put
Wake
on the
up, yeah,
gas?
yeah.
I mean, what's the orientation? The mind must
Just waking you up for
allowed to be
anything,
able
first
to
of
do,
all.
Yeah.
to
You
do
know,
that.
yeah,
The person can go
exactly.
turn on the burner without even lighting it on. The whole place is all just forget that it's on. You know.
You know, sometimes when you wake up in the early morning like that,
Yes,
your
yes.
head is not
Yes.
exactly
Sometimes they begin to think, where am I?
coordinated.
What-
It's like
what's
when you travel
going
or
on?
something, you know,
Exactly,
you're
you're
sure
not
you
coordinated. So why would you go to? I hope it's not coming from the story I told about gas and midnight. I said I didn't do the needful before I went to bed.
Your
So
conscious-
when
your
I woke
subconscious
up,
mind.
yes, when I woke up, my mind went straight to that place, and I went to check if it
Because
was
you are
in
wired
order.
yourself.
Yeah,
to-
yeah, exactly.
But it's wrong to actually wake somebody up from sleep and say, go and power the gas.
Yes, to
It's
do
the wrong
something
thing
like
to
that.
do, or to do any other thing
Anything,
that is
yeah,
risky.
you should
Like
come-
handling knife early morning, it's a no-no. All right, so somebody says, morning, we need to sensitize and educate everyone, especially on sex abuse. They need to speak out in situations where anyone living with them, especially relatives and domestic staff, are abusing them sexually or emotionally. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I will let you speak on that because that seems to be your forte.
Well, this is like you said, we all take precautions, and it's also important to give education, sex education, to our kids as early as possible. The good touch, bad touch, who can touch you, who can clean you up, and things like that. Because these things are real. We just don't talk about them.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of kids I've talked to and have told me the sexual experience that they had as children in the home. The home is supposed to be the safest place for a child. Yet, many people have been sexually molested and abused in the home. This is real. And it happens every day, from domestic staff to relatives to even people who come to work for a minute or two. There was a case of some years ago. A guy was sent from, was it LG or Thermocol or something, to come and repair
Oh, no.
a deep freezer. The madam of the house was out and the guy was out. The house girl he raped the house girl.
Hey,
So it's something, we've always been afraid of people coming in and checking. We had never thought
They
of
should
the,
have cut
yes,
off that
of the-
guy's genital.
of the possibility of a serviceman coming to do a
Yeah,
service and
How
actually
desperate
rape.
or how, what is it?
you know,
You're
the
coming
first
for work.
thing when you talk about that, to ensure safety in your homes, even as I am, if I'm alone at home, a carpenter will not enter my house.
Likewise, honestly.
Electrician will not enter my house.
has to be
As
careful.
big as I am,
Yeah,
then I'll not leave my child.
yeah.
No repair person comes to my house. As a matter of fact, visitors will not even come to my house if I am
Not
alone.
Yes.
Because you really can't tell what will happen.
No, you can come, but at the door.
Yeah,
And I don't
exactly.
Okay,
The
so
door
I can
open
help
door,
you out.
exactly.
So you,
So how can you send somebody to go and repair something for you when there's just the
Sometimes.
house help alone?
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes peculiarities happens. Now nobody expected that
honestly,
Yeah.
it
the
was
service guy will go do
Yes.
such. It also means that the family can actually sue the company big time.
That's
So
it,
next
as a
time,
company.
they will know how to.
See, Kevin, let me tell you, my people say that when is an idiom that the goat or a lion cannot run a bar because it will finish the yam and the meat. It is the truth. You cannot carry your
But
yam
it's not written on
and
anybody's
tell
head,
a
though.
goat to hold it for you.
Yes.
So whether or not you expect it, There is no how you will have a girl at home and
Alone.
you send some
Mature
alone.
or less.
You know, even when she's not matured.
As a mature or less.
Some people may not have thought about it, the service person, but because the condition is smooth, the atmosphere is permissible, he will now decide, okay, on the spot of the moment, somebody whispers to him, he does it. If you don't have somebody, you can ask the security person if you have one. You can ask a neighbor.
In the house.
It must not even be a boy. Please hang around here. Somebody is coming to work.
Not be alone.
If it's somebody that cannot wait until the house is full, somebody is coming to work, but don't be alone. It's not right.
Imagine if that's house help is not is a child of this individual.
Sometimes they do
Believe
that.
me, it does happen.
Yeah.
You see, it's lack of consciousness. It does happen.
But let me tell you something else I tell my children is I don't want to hear, or people around me, don't tell my child, don't tell your mother.
Yeah.
And I tell my children, don't let nobody tell you, don't tell. Make sure you tell. Always. No matter what it is, how was your day? Tell me everything that happened. And if anybody, you know how house helps are in the house and they want to take something in the fridge, don't tell your mommy. No. The minute somebody tells you don't tell, make sure you're telling me.
But you know, it's more than that. I keep telling parents, you see, it's way beyond that. Not just that, also make yourself vulnerable to your children.
Right.
Once in a while, I make up a scenario in my head and I come and meet my son and tell him, oh my God, this thing happened to me today. Oh my God, and I make him feel important enough that I'm sharing something, a vulnerability with him, so that he will learn that when he's also going through something, he can talk to me as well.
But there's a downside to that.
How?
Once there is an element of when the truth is not clearly stated, or what you explain is not necessarily happen, it actually seeps down to send a negative signal in the minds of whoever is listening to you. Over time, what happens is that it begins to have a false sense of empathy.
No, of course, something like that does happen, but you don't give him exactly the because there are some things.
So you just have to make your acting real.
Yeah, it has to be age appropriate. You understand? But it's not like nothing like that happen, but just to make emotional things that everybody goes through, so that they understand that these are things even adults go through, and you can always have someone you trust. You can tell.
Okay, so those are some of the things to be enjoying in your package. Is this Saturday, right?
Yes, it's this Saturday.
Okay.
The Breathe Emotional Wellness Summit. It's basically about wellness, how we handle life, mind, and work, because the mindset is really important, and that's what people don't understand. The way you are, the way you think, the way you feel and behave, it all has to do with your mindset. So when people are going through a lot of things with each other, think about how you do things.
Yes.
Know the connection between your mind and your life. And that's why we also created a program for women, free coaching, mental health coaching program for a group of women and associations who want us to come and talk to them about the power of the mindset and women mental health. It's for women, actually. Women mental health.
You're emphasizing that because I'm here.
Yeah, it's women mental health.
The man is the most endangered species.
No.
Yes.
Is that right, sir? Okay, so don't worry. One of these days, I know Coach Didi. She's going to organize a show just for men.
Yeah.
So
Look forward to it.
Okay, so we'll look forward to
supportive.
it. Let's take one or two messages before we go. Hi, note that people should also switch off water heater after using them. Yes, very important. That even before and after using it. So because it's something that we all forget.
That's one thing that's actually killing a lot of people. You switch on the water heater, you're under it, and there's a breach, a spark comes in and eats you down. So once it's boiled, switch it off before you start
using it. Okay. So if someone gets electrocuted, what do we do? I'll let you answer that briefly, but let me just take one more because I don't have a lot of messages. It says, is it good to iron and make calls? Kevin, I'll still throw the two of them to you. Good day. Regarding safety, the landlord or homeowners have a big deal to do. Many times they play dumb and allow you, the tenants, to handle bills and still keep the rent high. This is in return making people do things anyhow with the notion that it is not their house. Mostly things like electricity and crack in the wall. All right, so I need you to quickly answer. Is it good to do?
What you simply do is that either use a non-conducting device, either a stick or a plastic, and quickly go switch off the source. Because once if it's a short time, that soap can be saved. But if it's a long time, it gets frozen. So
now, if I go with my bare hands to carry the
you're
person,
gone with the person.
Okay.
You're gone with the person. There's no two ways about it. Except you understand the breathing technique. If you cease the breath to some level, current don't pass through you.
Okay.
I mean, when I was doing this electrical company, that's what we use. When we don't have tester, we just use breath and touch to feel.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I mean, I did that, but nobody should try that.
Don't
So,
use it at all.
don't try that.
All right, so can I iron clothes and still answer
Yeah,
calls?
you can. It just, there's
Okay, there's no
no
connection
the
there.
magnetic field that affects that. It's just
Okay.
that be sure what you're ironing, the electrical iron you're using is not leaking with current, and you're not on bare feet. You're walking or water close by, because I mean there could be shock. Sometimes our cables are already leaking, and water touches it, and there's a spark, there's a breach, and it causes some kind of problem.
All right,
But
so-
the tenants issue, I think landlord needs to do more. Share responsibility. Let it be the maintenance contract is signed to be
All right,
sure.
so final words.
Well, the Bridge Summit, like you said, it's happening this Saturday. Kevin.
Are we all invited?
Kevin,
Is it
I sent
paid
you a
event?
message. It's paid now. Kevin, I sent you a message. So
There you go.
don't worry, we'll talk after.
Not for me.
It's
for
not
those-
for women. It's alone.
No, this one is not for men. This
Okay.
is it's for actually
Human
career
beings.
people who work mind and work and business and like. But the other one, the BRT, Breathe Resilience Tribe, is basically for women mental health.
But this is for everybody.
This
For
for everyone.
everybody.
Every adult.
All right, so
Yes, every adult.
we'll come and
And
enjoy
there's
that.
discount if you mention NTA competitions.
All right, so-
I would just really like to say, look out for each other. Look out for each other.
all right, so on that note, we say
Give
bye-bye.
me last word.
I should give you last
I
word.
thought you already had.
Kevin, okay, 1 minute.
Be human and
Okay.
try to be more sensitive.
All
Follow
right.
your intuition all the time.
All right, so whatever you do, what you do not want to happen to yourself, don't let it happen to another person. Not your child, not your house help, not anyone around you. Let's always be safety conscious. If it's happening in another person's house, don't say, okay, it's them. It can be you today or tomorrow. I'll see you again. Be good citizens. Bye.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Hello and thanks for joining us on the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Elizabeth Omori. I look at the headlines. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo joins Nigerian Economic Summit Group to deliberate on developmental issues. Ministers of Finance and Humanitarian Affairs spearhead strategies for climate change adaptation funding. National Assembly becomes Mecca of salt as many agencies defend 2023 budgets. Ahead of next week's Nigerian Economic Summit, an annual event where the public and private sector stakeholders deliberate on developmental issues, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says focusing on pressing national issues with significance for the future should be the objective of the meeting this year. This was when Vice President Osinbajo received a delegation of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group at the presidential villa. The NESG team briefed the Vice President on the agenda, particularly the theme of the 28th Nigerian Economic Summit 2023 and beyond, priorities for shared prosperity. Stating the significance of the private sector's perspective to macroeconomic issues, the Vice President said it is important to always note the main concerns, especially about macroeconomics, how to deal with the issues, and how to resolve these issues. Sustainable peace is possible for Africa if leaders would incorporate the principle of adapting African solutions to Africa's problems. Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, stated this while addressing the ongoing session of the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, South Africa. Vivian Idekbefo reports.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is addressing the Continental Parliamentary Body for the first time since he was appointed by the African Union to mediate peace in the Horn of Africa. With the successes recorded in Ethiopia and Tigray, the former president is concerned about an enduring solution that fosters assurance of security for all parties.
You have to be friendly to all sides and whatever, and also be patient, because you will be accused of all sorts of things.
Former President Obasanjo says the African Union would make more impact by working in synergy with all organs and called on the Pan-African Parliament to be steadfast in carrying out its duties as outlined in its objectives.
This institution is not an unnecessary institution. It is an institution that should be part and parcel of the instrument that will lead us to the promised land. PAP is indispensable to the AU.
The Pan-African Parliament is soliciting the support of the former president in getting member states to understand the importance of the legislative organ and ratify the Malabo Protocol. Vivian Idekbefo, NTA News.
Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has expressed worry over payment of 18 days in October 2022 salaries to its members. In a statement, President of the union posits that the National Executive Council of the Union describes the development as unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor relations and therefore frowns at government's attitude to reduce what they called scholar to casual workers. The union wishes to pursue positive resolutions within the ambit of the law to avoid crisis. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark International Day of Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics (STEM), guest on NTA's program, Nigeria Today advocates the need to put measures in place to promote and encourage STEM education in Nigerian schools. Amina Abdullah Abubakar, director at Tabiya STEM School, made the submission that STEM education is not only important for the boy child, but it is as well for the girl child. Hence the need for educational stakeholders to encourage children from young age to embrace STEM.
A traffic density control traffic light, which we presented to FCT Transport Secretariat, and then somebody there advised us that we should get the banks to bankroll the project, or some of these companies. You see, research is very important, and that is where we don't put much attention on. And researchers need money. And if the private sector and then the educational sector will come together to put the knowledge from the schools and then the bank as the bank rolling from the private sector, we move.
Mahmoud Ahmed, Chairman, CEO STEM Childcare, emphasized the major role STEM plays in every aspect of human life, from innovations to fashion designing, hence the need for more practical training of students in schools.
The dynamism and the magnitude of digital transformation that is sweeping across all facets of our life, you will understand that we need to have STEM so as to reshape the future. Okay. Because if you look at places like Amazon and Alibaba, they are shrinking the size of physical stores, while the physical stores are also eliminating human workforce.
Today airs every weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. To electrification, the federal government says 5 million Nigerians have been provided with renewable electricity generated in off-grid spare across the country under the Nigeria Electrification Project. A statement released on the level of implementation of the project shows that more than 900,000 solar home systems, 67 mini-grid projects, and 26 container solar energy parks for hospitals have been deployed to benefiting communities. The World Bank and the African Development Bank are supporting the project with a grant of $550 million so as to boost electricity access in the country, especially with renewable energy. The implementation of the Nigerian Electrification Project, federal government says, has so far created 1,151 jobs and saved more than 200,000 tons of carbon dioxide. Rural Electrification Agency is implementing the projects. And the Nigerian Labour Congress, in collaboration with International Labour Organization, has launched a migrant recruitment advisor to help migrants with needed information about human rights status of destination countries and resources available for seeking redress in case of any exploitation. Joseph also reports that the trade union also conducted a stakeholders capacity building training on the project in Abuja.
Recent research indicates economic crisis and insecurity are major drivers of global migration.
All pressurized because of the economic challenge and the crisis, global crisis and the pandemic challenge that has heightened the need for people to seek survival, not just greener pastures. They are living, you can say, blindly, not well schooled in what to find or expect out there.
But the quest for better opportunities abroad has also exposed many to unfair recruitment and forced labor. The trend is giving trade union leaders a concern, prompting the launching of the Migrant Recruitment Advisory, made up of members of trade unions and civil society organizations to serve as contact points for migrants.
Provides necessary information about a particular country, where the migration of that country flows to, occasions where exploitation happen, opportunities available in terms of policies, in terms of programs, and then who are the actors and what are the processes.
Initiative spans 2021 to 2025, looks at what trade unions can do in strengthening and improving their capacity and promoting decent work for workers. It is on that basis that the ILO has joined this activity today.
The Ministry of Labour and Employment has been implementing the Recruiters License Scheme to regulate the activities of private employment agencies to prevent abusive and unfair labour practices.
The advisories themselves need to be abreast of destination countries to be helpful to the migrants. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
A chemical explosion at Onitsha Drug Market Bridge has killed an unconfirmed number of persons, with goods worth billions of naira gutted by fire. Uchenna Nwokoyo has details.
The fire was said to have started at about 12:30 p.m. Tuesday. The fire chief and director Anambra State Fire Service, Dr. Martin Abili, who confirmed the incident through a telephone call, said he deployed firefighters to the scene as soon as he received distress call. Dr. Abuli, who explained that the fire was as a result of chemical explosion, said they were yet to determine the number of casualties as rescue operation was still ongoing in Onitsha. Uche Nawekoyo, NTA News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA, says it has uncovered plans by some group of persons to introduce a lethal synthetic opioid, fentanyl, which is 100 times stronger than tramadol, into the Nigerian markets. The agency is cautioning the public on the illicit substance, noting that it is capable of causing mass casualties among the youth population, has been targeted by the cartels. The agency, however, says all necessary assets have been deployed to monitor the cartels involved in these latest threats. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We will be back with more reports after this time out. Just stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now to budget defense. The 2023 budget of the Nigerian Institute for Trypanosomiasis Research, which was suspended because of leadership tussle, has been scrutinized. The Senate Committee on Science and Technology was particularly interested in making sure there is a conducive environment for the implementation of the budget. Ignatius Nkwo tells us more.
While Minister's Department Science and Technology Oloro Nimbe Mamora was at the Senate to answer questions on the lingering leadership puzzle at the Nigerian Institute for Trypanosomiasis Research, the position of the Director General, the committee then invited the minister to appear with the overseeing Director General.
Everything possible, as much as possible, has been done. As at this point in time, she is the acting DG, Dr. Ngweso.
Before continuing with the budget defense, the parliamentary committee implored the minister to provide security for the Director General to carry out the mandate of the institute.
So I'll give her the floor to defend the budget, but we're interested on the operations of that agency, how the agency can work.
At this point, the role of the minister is ended and he takes his leave, while the overseeing Director General defends the Institute 2023 budget. The Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, Modibo Haman Tukur, defended the unit's 2023 budget before the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes with request for increased capital allocation.
1.2 billion. And this year they gave us 100 million naira.
And thanks to your efforts that you said you provide the information leading to this arrest and also blocking of numerous accounts.
The Minister of Special Duties, Senator George Akume, defended 1.4 billion naira 2023 budget of the office before the Senate Committee on Special Duties.
We don't have a staff complement that is sufficiently strong.
The committee observed that some of the functions carried out by some ministries and agencies of government falls under the purview of the Minister of Special Duties. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed also appeared before the Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism to defend his ministry's 2023 budget proposal. Anthony Forson reports.
The minister opened his budget defense explaining the culture and tourism sector's mandate, which is anchored on promoting the people's culture and facilitating access by citizens to positive values, with the challenges his ministry faces on account of low funding and still striving.
The pandemic, on the one hand, which affected this industry more than any other industry, and of course also the paucity of funds. For Your Excellency, sir, I want to say with all sort of humility that despite all this, the creative industry has done extremely well. Mr. Chairman, sir, I'm sure you are aware, sir, that for the first time, the grain industry was able to attract private participation funding to the tune of about 100 million US dollars to rehabilitate and renovate the National Theatre. And it's with pride, Mr. Chairman, sir, I announce here that Monday, the 14th of this month, by the grace of God, we are going to declare open the first ever United Nations World Tourism Organization Global Conference on culture, tourism, and the creative industry. And this is going to take place in the iconic National Theatre.
On 2022 budget, the minister lamented but concurred with questions asked by members of the committee.
Your Excellency, you have spoken already to the challenges we are facing. I don't think I can improve on that. That with COVID-19, with poor funding, I mean, we could not do as much as we wish to do.
It's unfortunate that at the short time I've been in the Senate, the culture and tourism has not attained this where it should be, attained this height because of this insecurity and COVID-19 and poor funding.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika has informed members of the National Assembly that a new national carrier will soon be launched. This was when the minister defended the 2023 budget proposal of his ministry before House and Senate committees on aviation. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Mushola reports.
This interaction is coming days after oversight of aviation sector by the Joint Committee of the National Assembly. Thus, places members in a better position to assess the ministry.
There are so many ongoing projects. Some of them are not captured. What is going to happen?
We have noticed with great concern the omission of one of the critical security and safety agencies of the ministry, the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, from the 2023 FGM budget.
The scorecard of Adesirika is premised on the significant improvements recorded in the sector, with security of nations airspace being topmost.
Cost of aircraft maintenance, though worrisome, has been managed during this period. Furthermore, it's also worth to note there are more bilateral and multilateral air services agreements that have been signed for the benefit of our air travelers.
Meanwhile, the chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrashid Bawa, at the Budget Defense, solicited for more funding so that EFCC could be steps ahead of criminals.
We are building a brand new EFCC Academy and we need funding for that. Last year, 3 billion was allocated and this year nothing. Was allocated for it, and that is why we are pleading to members. We have to learn. We, as fighters of crime, we have to be ahead of these criminals. And the only way you can do that is by training and retraining and retraining and retraining again.
The EFCC chief also pledged that the agency will continue to build on the covered grants. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Police Affairs and Agencies under the ministry have a budgetary proposal of 871 billion naira for 2023. The Minister, Megari Dingyadi, at the Budget Defense engagement with the Joint Senate and House Committees on Police, urged that the National Assembly should facilitate additional allocation for improved policing. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The minister is making the request to further improve infrastructure and logistics in all police formations across the country.
The demand upon the ministry is to carry out its mandate, ensuring adequate security of lives and property in Nigeria. The provisions proposed for this task in the year 2023, particularly for the main ministry and the police academy within, are considered inadequate.
He gave details of budgetary releases to the ministry for 2022.
For purposes of implementation, actual releases to the main ministry.
And the synergy we've enjoyed with the Committee on Police Affairs of both the two chambers. So we are really proud of you.
The House Committee on Mines and Steel Development asked the Budget Defense sitting of the National Security Advisor to ensure enhanced security on activities in the sector.
Is aware of the problems of illegal mining and, of course, the attendant security causes, and is working on a robust proposal.
How is the 2023 budget of the ministry key to the revival of the steel industry in Nigeria?
The budget proposal for the ministry for 2023 is 3.2 billion naira from the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Government's commitment. Abubakar Malami stated this at the Senate 2023 Budget Defense. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Comparative analysis by the Senate Committee Chairman by significant increases were made for the Legal Aid Council, Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies and Nigerian Law School.
Conceptualization of our action plans and budget proposals was largely based on priorities targeted at involving a paradigm shift in our beloved country.
The committee has collaborated in ensuring that certain critical bills were passed that will not only turn the economy of our country around, but ensure the stability of our polity and the growth of our country.
The committee appreciates the administration of the Criminal Justice Act and the Legal Aid Council, which is gestion of prisons in the country. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Ministries department made by the proposed budget for the Commission.
Despite the fact that increasingly the activities and the need and functions of the Commission have been increasing, I wonder why budget and planning is now even reducing the capital much more. I wonder what this amount can do for this agency.
Mr. Chairman, the new chairman.
Parliament for amendment, I think that would also help because as the House of Representatives, the issue of low budgetary allocation for the national salaries income.
Need more money. We really sympathize with your agency and the enormous task on salaries, and even I look at your number of staff, 153, and your last date of recruitment is 2011.
I will solve it with your cooperation. I have rejigged the act the board has approved, which I'm bringing up. I work with the Ministry of Justice.
The committee also considered the proposals of other agencies in attendance from the National Assembly. Mobolaji, Moribiri, NTA News.
Plateau State Executive Council has approved a proposed budget estimate of 139.3 to be sent to the State House of Assembly for passage into law as 2023 appropriations. The State Executive Council agreed on the budget proposal during an Executive Council meeting chaired by Governor Simon Bako Lalong. Briefing newsmen after the meeting, Commissioner for Information and Communications, Dan Manjang, said the proposed budget has a capital expenditure proposal at 7% over the 2022 approved budget will be transmitted to the House of Assembly for legislative action on a date to be fixed. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Budget and Planning, Mr. Peter Lamba, who stood in for Mr. Dan Heckup, Commissioner for Budget and Planning, said inflation, other indices, and the need to ensure completion of critical projects. The State Executive Council also expressed delight as Plateau hosts the flag-off of the APC presidential campaigns scheduled to take place as well.
The fact that Mambila Plateau is a huge show of natural beauty is uncontestable. The beautiful landscape of the plateau, covering several square kilometers, is entirely attractive, pleasing to the eyes, and soothing to the mind. The entirety of these hills and valleys put together make up the Saldana local government area, the largest local government area in Taraba State, northeastern Nigeria. This local government is widely known as the Mambila Plateau. Tens of beautiful waterfalls, such as the Vakude waterfalls in Warwa community, among many other tourist attractions on the plateau in particular and Taraba State in general, need to be tapped for infrastructural development and other economic benefits.
If properly tapped and the tourist potential are well developed, let me tell you, you will not even be thinking about going outside the country for any tourist purposes. We will rather expect people from outside the country to come to us. If you look at the time you stay in this area, you don't even witness mosquitoes, air mosquitoes. You don't even feel heat in this place. You only get fresh air. And these are things that in other places you have to buy air condition to feel fresh air. You rather buy a fan to give you cool weather. But here is not the case. You even prefer to look for blanket at a time. So you see that for government to open up this place to tourists, investors, and our tourists to visit this place will be the best thing.
Wuro do nebi na hande ba. Wuro daga jamanu joro sapo.
This Vakude waterfalls is as old as the community itself. It outlives the reign of over 10 past community heads of Vakude here in Mambila Plateau. We have been using it as one of the sources of drinking water to the Vakude community. Beyond that, however, We implore for more meaningful usage of the waterfall. We request governments at all levels to help us achieve, even if it is irrigation from it. We hear that the federal government is developing hydroelectric power from Baruch waterfalls. We are happy. More so, there are many other waterfalls on the Mambila Plateau which could also be useful in that regard. This is one of them. You can see that the waterfall is also beautiful.
No wonder the tag Nature's Gifts to the Nation, which Taraba State is referred to. It is derived from Mambila Plateau owing to the abundant natural resources and friendly weather condition, which is favorable for the growth of numerous economic trees of international economic value, as well as other agricultural produce. Tourist attractions on the Mambila Plateau are endless. Therefore, today we explore in this episode the Mbara Rock. This highly fascinating and huge rock is situated at Mbara village in Mbamga community in Mambila Plateau. Interestingly, our visit to Mbara Rock is very revealing.
Within the state or the country, they have never discovered that place yet. But in those days, the white men used to come. They used to come there to make their research, but we don't know what was bringing them there. But it's today, when we have understand the importance of tourism, we know that this is one of the beautiful sceneries and is a tourist attraction. We will be proud to tell you that you can sell out this rock to the outside world so that people can discover that there are such a thing in Bamga here in the Sadona local government of this plateau. That mountain, only God knows what is inside. As it is on top, is there we get our drinking water that comes right from the rock. Here we take spring water. We go to the source, we escalate it, introduce it to a reservoir, and then it is sent down to the town through the force of gravity. So we thank God for all these blessings and many other rocks that are there not yet discovered. But as soon as you keep on coming to Mbamga or Mambila Plateau, you will not be tired seeing all such wonderful things God has blessed this land with.
Really, I'm very proud of being the indigenous of this land because this is where I was born, in Bamga. And I've never knew that we have a place like this existing. It's today that we have known. I've met my brothers and my uncles and my forefathers here. They told me so much about this. So I'm calling on government to do something about this place that we are seeing, because it's very useful to our community, the people of Bamga, and the individual that can able to do something in this land and this community here in Mambila Plateau. We are calling on everybody, anyone that love us and love this community, let him have something to do with this place. It's very important.
Although only a few people may know about its existence, and majorly those from Mbamga community in Mambila Plateau, Mbara Rock has a long history of existence.
If you keep on coming to Mbamga, there's never a day you come out, you know, see strange things. For Mbara Rock, that rock has been there for quite a long time. That rock is as old as the community has been. This is one of the oldest community in the whole of Mambila Plateau here. So Umbra Rock is one of the rocks that is very historic. Is noted for many things. In those days, during festivals, maybe when people are going out for hunting, they follow to that place for blessings. There's a time when you are having this masquerade festival. There are a lot of things that our elders do. In fact, beneath the rock, there's a place where if the elders want to do some cooking to make their incarnations, they cook from beneath the rock where the pot is kept on top of the rock there, and it will be doing over there. People will eat it. This rock, as you see it yourself, is very beautiful. It's one of the highest points here. Within this our vicinity, you stand there, you can sight almost every community that is around Mambila Plateau. So as you are all aware that Mambila Plateau is one of the highest altitude, according from sea level. It's over 1,800 miles above sea level. So this is one of the mountains we can talk of, even though it is not the highest here, but we are proud of that mountain.
Latest entrance, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel, live more.
The Mbara Rock is a display of nature's gifts of beauty. More so, it also plays some significant roles in the lives of the people of Mbamga community on the Mambila Plateau, to be specific. It is on the rock that the people of Mbamga celebrate the Mvuro festival once every year. The festival is usually celebrated at the early part of every rainy season, immediately after planting and germination of seeds for each season. Undoubtedly, Mbara Rock could surely be considered a unity rock, which brings together the entire people of Mbamga community of the Mambila Plateau as they come together with a view of achieving a common goal.
Since I was born, I met this rock as a child. We grew up along with my mate and saw that this rock was actually fanciful. As children, we used to climb the rock and play. You can see even now that children are relaxing on the rock. Well on top of this rock, one sees very far places, including some part of Cameroon. Mbara Rock is strategic in the life of the people. We celebrate our traditional festival. During the festival, we also take unanimous decisions which are binding on all.
Mbara Rock, apart from unifying the people of Mbamga on the Mambila Plateau, is also attractive to animals as they come around to also take the cool fresh air as they graze on the areas of the rock where grasses grow. More to that, however, hunters have a living to make on and around the beautiful flat surfaced rock.
The importance of this rock, just Nyambra. This is what we call Mbra.
And usually we are doing hunting here. Many animals stay in this place. And I'm hunting it, particularly now, with my dog. We get altinum, lizard, cutting grass, leopard, lion, monkey. They are all found in this area.
A tourist or any visitor to the Mbara Rock who desires to keep fit does not have to bother. The top of the rock is convenient for jogging. Surely, the terrain is not rough. It is wide enough for such a beneficial exercise. Mbara Rock, with its spread, is an ideal place for picnicking. Therefore, tourists and other visitors will no doubt enjoy their visit to one of the highest points on the Mambila Plateau. The rock is not a dry rock. Hence, even if a visitor does not come along with water to the rock, the water which comes out of the rock naturally is likened to spring water, both in taste and cleanliness. It could be further developed.
As you are seeing this water from rocks, throughout the year, the water doesn't dry out. The hunters that used to come and hunt from the rock, they used to drink this water. Even the cattle or cow that they used to come here, they used to drink this water throughout. And we also use for our traditional cooking.
Mambila Plateau is indeed beautiful. The weather is really inviting. The people of the plateau are accommodating. To see more of the beautiful nature of the Mambila Plateau, all you need do is take a trip to the Mbara Rock and you will not be disappointed.
It is already known that this environment is tourism friendly environment, and the climate too is a friendly climate that you've said you've been enjoying. And this is a place where other countries in Africa and the world depend on tourism. If the tourism potential of this area is enhanced to a level that it can, I think it can even sustain the country. Countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Botswana, they are living on tourism. And even South Africa, apart from their gold mining and so on, they depend on tourism. And since we have the potential, the only thing we are left with is how to develop it. And I am calling on people and investors that are good in investing in tourism to come and see the potentials and maybe come into partnership with the state and the federal government to see that this is developed to its maximum. We can use it maximally for our good, because the state government alone or the local government alone cannot be able to develop the tourism potential. It's too huge and it's too big, so it is going to be financially it will be a very large sum that we have to develop it. It has never been done, so it is now. We just have to start it from the crash and then develop it to a level where it will be internationally recognized, and then it will be good for us.
Bamga, the community in which the Mbara Rock is situated by nature, is viewed beautifully from the top of the rock. Indeed, a beautiful scenery and sight to behold. Gimbu town is the administrative headquarters of Sorodauna local government area, which covers the whole of Mambila Plateau. Reaching the Mbara Rock from there takes about 1.5 hours, as one also needs to cross a river on a canoe, which is another experience. From the top of the rock, one could have a look at Gimbu. Of course, far away, giving another beautiful look of the Mambila Plateau. It is a potential tourist site which ought to be developed and harnessed.
Mbara Rock is not exposed, and it is a unique, I dare say probably unique in the active tourist and environment for, our investors to come and create a tourist, attraction in that of Mbara Rock. But it's something that, certainly has to be exposed, has to be open to government, has to be open to federal government and to investors and the communities. So we are looking forward to having, a good synergy between the National Assembly, Taraba State Government, federal executive, and then to make sure that, we develop that attraction, and then, so that we can begin to generate, our own kind of income generation. We contribute internally generated revenue to the big, cake in the country.
While on top of the Mbara Rock and enjoying the cool breeze, cooler than most parts of the already cool Mambila Plateau, it will be pleasing to take your time to move around the various sections and sides of the rock. Each section of the rock provides unique features in terms of formation and beauty. Mambila Plateau is surely beautiful. The human eye likes to see beautiful scenery. The mind is also pleased with sights of beautiful places like the Mambila Plateau. Certainly, a visit to Mbara Rock will offer visitors and tourists the opportunity to see more of the beauty of the Mambila Plateau from all directions, north, south, east, and west. As we bring to your notice the existence of a rock with widespread and unique beauty, the Mbara Rock of Mbamga community on the Mambila Plateau, it is a wake-up call for development of its surrounding, with facilities that would attract tourists to stay for long periods, while at the rock to appreciate nature's gifts. Diversification of revenue sources to boost the economy is highly desirable. Mbara Rock is waiting to be tapped for tourism purposes and indeed income generation. So visit Mbara Rock today and you will certainly be glad you did.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome to Africa, the land of innocent civilization.
What is happening? Your eyes are red. You are armed with a machete and a gun. See, I am angry and I can't even contain it. See. Oh, my guy, calm down, calm down. See, Oga, I have planned to go and destroy these people's businesses in the city. I have to retaliate for what they've done at our own place. Your brother who sends you steady cash, how would you survive? Would your dreams be on hold? See, what you're saying is correct. But I'm still angry. Best way is to embrace peace. With peace and unity,
my people, let us embrace peace and unity. Let's learn to live as brothers and sisters for a progressive, prosperous nation. This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Hello and thanks for joining us for the news update at 11. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Ahead of next week's Nigerian Economic Summit, an annual event where the public and private sector stakeholders deliberate on developmental issues, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says focusing on pressing national issues with significance for the future should be the objective of the meeting this year. This was when the Vice President received a delegation of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group at the Presidential Villa. The NESG team briefed the Vice President on the agenda, particularly the theme of the 28th Nigerian Economic Summit, 2023 and beyond, priorities for shared prosperity. Stating the significance of the private sector's perspective to macroeconomic issues, the Vice President said it is important to always note what the main concerns are, especially about macroeconomics, how to deal with issues and how to resolve these issues. The Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU has expressed worry over payments of 18 days in October 2022 salaries to its members. In a statement, President of the union posits that the National Executive Council of the union describes the development as unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor relations and therefore frowns at government's attitude to reduce what they called scholars to casual workers. The union wishes to pursue positive resolutions within the ambit of the law to avoid crisis. The 2023 budget of the Nigerian Institute for Trypanosomiasis Research, which was suspended because of leadership tussle, has been scrutinized. The Senate Committee on Science and Technology was particularly interested in making sure there is a conducive environment for the implementation of the budget. And that's the news update. Thank you so much for your time.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Welcome to another interesting edition of your favorite show, Lifelines with Mima. I'll be your host and my name is Mima. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Today, we're treating a very sensitive topic. It's all about IVF as it relates with surrogacy. The term surrogacy is something that has been in existence for a long time, even before medical technology made it possible for IVF to make things simpler and better. We've always had that in our culture as Africans, especially in Nigeria. But you see, we still do not fully understand the concept of it and how far the medical community has gone in this area. There's a lot of opportunities and chances out there for people that are going through infertility to get a chance to be fathers and mothers too. I believe that infertility is a disease, and everyone around us and everyone around you should make an effort to help whoever is dealing with that situation. As much as possible, try not to mock anybody. There's a lot to learn today. We have clients in the house already. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're still watching Lifelines with me, man. We're treating the subject of surrogacy today. With me now, I have our clients for the day. Let's meet them. Mrs. Bolaji, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mima. It's
and
my pleasure.
Our lovely sister, Miss Rita.
Thank you very much, Mima.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, without taking too much of your time, let's find out what brings you in today.
Mima, I'm in a sad situation. I am desperate to have my children. My sister here is willing to assist me, But my health insurance company is making things difficult for me.
I see. But I don't understand. Could you give more details?
Okay, let me explain. I was diagnosed with cancer of the uterus several months ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Despite aggressive chemotherapy and other treatments, the cancer continued to grow. Eventually, my doctors had to remove my womb in order to stop the cancer from spreading further. Emma, my biggest dream of becoming a mother
I'm so sorry.
was taken away from me that day. But there was nothing anyone could do about it.
I'm so sorry, madam. Have a tissue. I'm truly sorry.
Thank you, Mima.
Sorry.
Fortunately for me, my sister has offered to carry my baby. She wants to be a surrogate mother to my child. I was ecstatic about it. But my health insurance company had to inform the hospital we were using that they will not cover the cost for the IVF and the surrogacy.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm sorry. Take a minute, please. I'll come back to you. Miss Rita.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to have you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to find out, do you really understand and know exactly what surrogacy entails?
To be honest, I don't know much about it as I have not done it before. The only thing I am sure of is that I will do anything to make my sister happy because she's so dear to me.
That's so kind of you.
Well, I've also been told that I can carry her baby without her husband sleeping with me.
Okay. So let me explain it to you maybe in clearer terms so that you understand what you're doing. Because a lot of people have this good intention, but they don't get right counseling to understand the situation and what to expect. So surrogacy is something that's been happening a lot. It's been in history for a long time now, especially in the Igbo culture here in Nigeria. You know, they get surrogate mothers to, have children for them. But you see, traditional surrogacy would entail doing it the traditional way where either the man has to sleep with the lady to get her pregnant, or somehow his seed is injected into her directly to get her pregnant. But at the end, it would still be the lady's eggs that would be used, meaning that the lady would still be the biological mother to the child. It's just that she's having the baby for another person, but biologically it's her child. That's traditionally, but now there's IVF and the medical community has grown. So we have the option of getting her eggs and your brother-in-law's seed. Thank God she froze her eggs before the chemo started. So we can get her eggs, fertilize them with her husband's seed, and just use you as their incubator to help them carry the baby to term since she cannot carry herself. But you see, one difficult issue and why we sometimes discourage patients from using relatives as surrogates is this one would say, oh, this is my baby. The other one would say, oh, I carried him. Especially if one sister goes on in life and is not able to have more children, for example. So we use a lot of anonymous surrogate mothers. But you see, there are still a few cases like this, that the sisters are so close, the relatives are so good that they can trust each other. So it's a huge responsibility. You carry the baby, you bond with the baby, right? But it's not yours. So you have to have it at the back of your mind that at the end of the day, you should be able to, or you try your best to detach yourself from that child, even though you carried the pregnancy. I hope you understand.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for the detailed talk on surrogacy.
Okay.
But the truth is that I still want to help her.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Okay. Let's take a quick break. There's more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Everyone loves Jara, and every pack of Maggie Star 100 cubes now comes with 5 extra Maggie cubes just for you. Look out for the new Maggie Star pack to get your own Jara inside. Maggie, cook the difference.
Welcome back. You're still watching Lifelines with Mima. If you're just joining us, we're treating the subject of surrogacy today. With me now, I have Mr. Taufik Ayeni. He is the Regional Manager North of ICO Insurance PLC. Since we're treating this subject today, I thought it wise to invite him to give us clarification and educate us on this matter. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so very quickly now, Madam here had medical issues and lost her womb, but she still wants to bear children, and her sister over here has volunteered to be a surrogate for her, to carry her baby, and make her a mother. Unfortunately, her insurance doesn't cover IVF and surrogacy, and now she's desperate for a solution. So, Madam, I think you should, at this point, I should let you also.
Thank you, Mima.
Yeah.
Mima, my husband and I are broke now. We cannot foot the bills. After my battle with cancer, we went bankrupt. In fact, Rita here and her fiance are now our benefactors. We are just trying to pick up. So when the idea of surrogacy came up, we ran to my health insurance company for backup. But they said they cannot help us because it is not part of their health insurance policy plan or so.
I'm so sorry, madam. I'm so sorry. I know you've been through a lot. I'm sorry. Please.
I need support and assistance.
I understand. I know you've been through a lot. I'm so sorry. Okay, sir. Can you kindly throw more light on this issue?
Well, in as much as I feel their pain, the husband having gone through a lot of financial stress due to the cancer, and now the need to have a child, which is of great essence in life.
Yes.
But here comes the issue of surrogacy. And firstly, after feeling the way I feel for you, the truth is your health insurance company might have declined cover because basically surrogacy is not a direct insurance policy. When I say direct insurance policy, I mean it is speculative. And any risk that is speculative is not insurable. 1. 2, the person that is the surrogate mother now is not the person covered by your health insurance. Because there are 6 principles of insurance that everyone must learn to understand. The principles of utmost good faith, insurable interest, proximate cause, indemnity, subrogation, contribution, and of course, average. In this case, the idea of insurable interest has not been established to inculcate the surrogate mother at the time of taking up this policy. Secondly, surrogacy is speculative. It could lead to success, it could fail. So if it fails, will insurance company continue to pay for the surrogacy or for the process of IVF? Then the answer is no. So in that case, doing the IVF for a surrogate mother cannot be admissible under an health insurance policy. And bearing in mind that every insurance has these basic principles I've earlier mentioned, insurable interest has not been identified to incorporate the surrogate mother at the time of taking up this policy. So that is why there's no how the insurance company can oblige or grant cover for surrogacy in any way.
Wow.
I heard her talking about her experience with cancer
Yes.
and how they've become so bankrupt.
Mm.
That's how bad any form of critical illness could lead one to.
Yes.
But as we speak, people really don't know that in the market today, here in Nigeria, there are insurance policies that takes care of critical illnesses, including cancer. It may not heal you. It may not be a curative approach, but at least it will ameliorate the effect of your financial expenses in the event of such occurrence. So there are policies in place that will put money in your pocket, lump sum, to support your financial needs, to take care of all these expenses that would come up as a result of any form of critical illness. As in the case of your cancer, if you had gotten a support from an insurance company that you've taken a policy that has a critical illness cover, and in the event of you encountering that cancer, 10, 20, 50 million naira might have been paid to you. Your husband wouldn't have become so bankrupt. However, these policies must have been taken prior to being diagnosed positive of this cancerous issue that you encountered. Beyond cancer, it could be kidney failure. It could be any form of critical illness. So there are policies in place that take care of that. And I also advise our viewers to embrace insurance policies ahead of being a victim of any form. It could be a job loss. There are policies that provides for you to at least keep up while in the event, pending when you're able to bounce back.
Get something.
Mima, it's been a nice time with you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We've learned a lot. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Always good to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Back to you now, Mrs. Balaji.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm truly sorry for all that you have been through.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, there's not much the insurance company can do. But I pray and I hope that things improve in our country as we grow.
We hope so.
But for this peculiar case now, I don't want to send you home empty-handed. At least, let's do our little widow's mite to support you.
Wow.
So here you go, from all of us here.
Thank you,
at
Mima.
Lifelines with Mima.
Thank you, Mima. Thank you, Mima. Thank you. Mima, thank you. You have wiped away my tears. Mima, thank you, Mima. I'm so grateful, Mima. Thank you. Mima, thank you. You are a wonderful woman. May God bless you. Mima. May God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mima. Thank you. I'm so grateful, Mima. Thank you,
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Mima, I'm grateful. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mima, for this. And, Madam, that will go a long way to support you and your family towards achieving your goal. And Mima, more grace to your elbow. And we pray other Nigerians can learn from you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And more so, we also pray that other Nigerians don't need to rely or hope for things like this. Let them take the proper insurance ahead of any issue that may come up, rather than reckoning on charity and the likes. So that's quite thoughtful of you.
Thank you so much. There you have it. Every woman, every man out there deserves a chance to be a mother, a father. It's a very, very important part of our lives. Taking that away from anybody can be the most heartbreaking experience. And if you've been through infertility, you would know how difficult it is and what society can do to you in terms of stigma when you're dealing with infertility. And so I'm speaking to you out there that's suffering, that's going through hell, trying to have babies. We are praying with you. We offer you our love and support. We may not be able to do it like this for everybody, but we're praying with you. We offer you our love and support. And by the grace of God, we wish that you will become parents someday. Let's move after the break. We'll be right back.
Hello, my people. My name's John Ikechukwu Okafor. Ibu mkpakọta konye ọganigwe a na-anụ ọnụ ya eke nwaanyị mgbe were mgbada ọgaraja na-ahụ agam. Keep watching Lifelines with Mima. Mima.
Everyone loves Jara, and every pack of Maggie Star 100 cubes now comes with 5 extra Maggie cubes just for you. Look out for the new Maggie Star pack to get your own Jara inside. Maggie, cook the difference.
Welcome back. You're still watching Lifelines with Mima, and today we're treating the subject of surrogacy. Well, it's a very sensitive one, and sadly, many Nigerians and Africans do not even understand how this works. We tend to judge and condemn, we say things to women that need surrogates like, oh, you're not woman enough, oh, you couldn't get pregnant by yourself, you couldn't do it yourself, it's a shameful thing, it's a bad thing. It's definitely not, because you see, that's a window that God has provided for everybody to get the chance to have a baby. The only very big drawback is that IVF treatment, fertility treatment, everything that has to do with it can be quite expensive. But in the end, it's really unfair to say, oh, because, you can't carry it yourself, you can't go on to be a mother. Surrogacy, if done right with the right documentation, the right surrogate, the right everything without cutting corners, if done right, can actually be a huge blessing to many families. I still have with me Mrs. Bology and her sister, Rita. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
I hope you're a bit calmer now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Rita, so knowing all that you know now about surrogacy, what do you think?
The truth is that my mind is made up. I still want to help her.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's beautiful. Wow. Okay. Well, how about your husband? What's his position on this matter?
He's in support. In fact, he is thankful to Rita and her fiance for this kind gesture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So you're engaged? Oh, wow.
Yes, I am.
And your boyfriend is aware of this? He doesn't mind?
It's strange, but he approved of it.
Oh.
Mima, do you see this woman and her husband? They are very nice. Really nice. Doing this for them is not too much to repay them for all their goodness to me and many others.
That's so sweet. Even before she came, I was told of how much of a kind person she is, how she loves children, how she helps children. So for that reason, madam, don't worry, don't cry, okay? Have a tissue. Don't cry.
Thank you, Mima.
It's nothing too big for God to handle. Okay? You are here now, so we're going to support you all through this, okay? You're not alone anymore.
Thank you, Mima.
Okay?
Yes.
All right, please be strong. I'm close to tears myself, so please, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. we've come to the end of our time today. But before we go, I'd like to leave something with you. The truth is that we need to help anyone and everyone going through infertility. Do your little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could also just be that you refuse to mock them like every other person does. We have a poor culture of stigmatizing, and infertility is actually a disease. I hope and I pray that insurance companies make provisions, grow more, open up more to cases like this, because you know what? How many of us can actually afford IVF on our own? How many of us can actually pay a surrogate on our own? It's like asking for something that most of us don't have. So we pray and we hope that they're out there, and we pray that our legislators, our governors, our people in government will also intervene and try to see how we can help people going through this difficulty. From all of us here, and until we see you next time, always remember that you don't need to go through life's issues alone. You know why? Mima cares.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's not fight in each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. We're Nigerian first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
This is the network service of the NTA.
I'm glad to have you join us on the program from the National Assembly. I am Ignatius Nkwo. Well, the Senate will not be sitting today, and because of that, we'll bring to you a package on the 2023 Budget Defense Session by the Senate Committee on the FCT, where the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory explained that the administration will focus on the completion of ongoing projects within the Federal Capital Territory.
On FCT 2022 Statutory Budget Appropriation Bill and the FCT component of the Federal Government National Appropriation Bill. On behalf of all distinguished and honorable members here present, it is my pleasure to welcome the Honorable Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Musa Bello, and all officials of the FCT. On behalf of all of us, you are welcome to the National Assembly for this budget defense. Distinguished colleagues, honorable members, this meeting is scheduled to rub minds with the Honorable Minister of FCT and all relevant officials of the FCT administration on the provisions in the FCT components of the 2023 National Appropriation Bill, and to also evaluate the performance of the 2022 Federal Government National Appropriation Act. This meeting will also examine the provisions in the FCT 2022 Statutory Appropriation Bill and evaluate the performance of the FCT 2021 Statutory Appropriation Bill Act. The analysis will guide both the FCT administration and the Joint Committee in making provisions for the FCT 2022 statutory budget, as well as the FCT components of the Federal Government 2023 National Priority Budget. Distinguished senators, honorable members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, may I please remind you that this meeting is a constitutional fulfillment towards the passage of any bill into law. Therefore, the committee demands FCT administration utmost cooperation. More so, the committee, through its oversight duty, will strongly support and complement the effort of the Honorable Minister in the fight against corruption and any administrative problems that might arise, such as misappropriation of funds or misapplication of law of funds as provided by the law that has been passed. We as a committee have resolved to better the lot of all residents of the FCT by ensuring the full implementations of this budget. Honorable Minister, distinguished senators, honorable member of Parliament, permit me to state that in all advanced and most developing countries, citizens and organized private sector await annual budget released with nostalgia. This is so because the budget outlines government current fiscal policies. However, I urge all of us here present to maintain an unshakable sense of optimism about Nigeria. We must, together, believe in the greater future that awaits all of us as citizens of this great country. Honorable Minister, distinguished senators, honorable members of Parliament, as men and women of great achievement and accomplishments in our respective field of endeavor, it is my hope that the Federal Capital Territory under our leadership shall experience fundamental development. We would ensure through our oversight duty that the beauty and status of the Federal Capital Territory is not only the pride of Nigeria, but that which every black man all over the world can be proud of. Honorable Ministers, distinguished colleagues, this is just by the wayside. Last 2 weeks, I was at the ECOWAS Parliament with some of my colleagues, and quite a number of our colleagues from other West African countries who came to attend some of them came to me and said, "We learned you are chairman of FCT." I said, "Yes." Say, "We want a land in Abuja, because Abuja looks like Europe, cities in Europe," and they were so delighted. And I said to them, "Will you want to live in Abuja?" They said, "Yes, give us work, give us a house in Abuja." So to buttress the part that not only Nigerians that are proud of our city, Africans within the sub-region are equally proud, because they normally visit here for parliamentary sessions here in Abuja. And each time they came, they extended their stay. So I think we have every sense, we have reason to be proud of our city and to be proud that standards are maintained and there are improvements, Honorable Minister, under your administration. The Senate Committee on FCT hereby places Satellite Towns Development Department on notice for an oversight visit on Tuesday, 25th, and possibly 26th, Wednesday. The full strength of the press shall be engaged in order for us to see how we can improve the well-being of our people, especially those who live outside the city of Abuja. In the strategy of our duties, we shall be transparent, courageous, fair, and for Nigerians, and be guided by the fear of the Almighty God. Honorable Minister, and I'm here as a second term privilege of being the chairman of FCT. I was a member of the FCT Senate Committee in 2007 to 2011, and I came back to be the chairman in 2011 to 2015, and I'm back here now. Let me assure you that I'll do all I can to make sure with my colleagues we effect a change, no matter how small we can. We want to add value to what we have seen. And I think about 3 weeks ago, or about a month ago, we had an oversight function. And I asked the minister, I said, nobody will be aware that you have done so much with some of the capital projects we have seen. Honorable Minister, you have not done badly, you have done well. If we are not impressed, I will say it here. We are impressed. The only complaint I hear about you is that you don't release money on time. Well, Honorable Minister, you have done very well. You have done well. I've seen many of the projects. I never knew that you have done that until when we had the privilege. And let me commend the vice chairman who was acting then, who had the privilege, or I had the privilege of attending because I was invited, and I could see that a lot has been done under your leadership. I think we will make efforts to see that they are completed. I will equally say that a lot has been said about this budget coming late, but there's a provision that you can utilize about 50% of the budget if there are problems in submitting budget early. For what you have done.
Appear before the joint session sitting of the distinguished Senate and Honorable House Committees on the Federal Capital Territory Administration to present our budgets. This is and by extension my humble self, as we jointly partner to make Abuja, our city of unity, what it is today, and by extension also to make the Federal Capital Territory achieve the dreams of the founding fathers. In today's presentation, I intend to present to you the performance of the 2021 statutory budget, to present to you the 2022 appropriation, as well as the review of the 2022 national budget, and then also present to you the FCT component of the 2023 national appropriation. As you are aware, distinguished senators and honorable members, the Federal Capital Territory Administration gets statutory funding from the proceeds of 1% of the 52.68% allocated to the federal government of Nigeria from the Federation accounts. In addition to that, we raise revenue through our internally generated operations as well as other sources as is normally contained in the revenue fiscal framework. And this is meant to enable us execute recurrent and capital expenditures under the Federal Capital Territory Administration. For the 2021 appropriation, you will recall that the National Assembly approved the Appropriation Act for us, where we had 329.9 billion naira, made up of 74.3 billion, which is 22.52%, allocated to personnel cost, 67 billion representing 20.4% allocated to overhead costs, while the sum of 188.5 billion representing 57% was appropriated to the capital expenditure. And you will notice that over the last few years, the bulk of our resources had always been allocated to capital expenditure, because for all intents and purposes, the Federal Capital Territory is still a work in progress. So there is a need to continuously and religiously apply funds for capital expenditure. On the revenue side, during the period under review, a total of 240.5 billion accrued to the Federal Capital Territory, which represents 73% of our expected level. This obviously as a result of a lot of macroeconomic indices that resulted in that. Distinguished members and honorable members of the two committees, you will notice that in the paper I submitted to you, on page 2 we have table 1, which basically itemizes all the items of revenue in terms of what we provided for and what eventually we were able to collect and the percentages of performance. I'll now quickly take you to page 3, where we also tried to summarize the expenditure performance of the 2021 appropriation. Of course, I mentioned to you that we 215 billion, and the levels of the breakdown according to personnel, overhead, and then capital expenditure are all highlighted under table 3 on that page. Having said that, by and large, we tried during the year under review to expand what was possible. But as you can know, you remember, that particular year was beset with a number of macro issues, including price variations on a number of issues. To the extent, some of the expenditure we simply could not do it because the procurement process on some of the projects took some time, but more importantly, because of the general increases in the prices within the economy, a number of the projects that were procured at the point of execution, the contractors simply told us they would not be able to continue at the prices for which the contracts were awarded. So obviously we had to look at the projects on a case-by-case basis and then make the necessary changes. Now we'll go to paragraph 8 of my submission, which has to do with the 2022 appropriation bill. In arriving at and preparing the 22 appropriation bill, we were guided by the federal government parameters established for budget preparation. That has to do with the medium-term expenditure framework, medium-term development plan, and then, of course, the standard government accounting practices. And for 2022, we are looking at a revenue and budget profile of 607 billion. In arriving at that, as explained in page 4, we identified additional substantial items of revenue which have been indicated in the lower part of that page. And in so doing, it is very important and instructive for us to know that revenues accruable to the Federal Capital Territory Administration are categorized into 2, distributable and non-distributable revenues. The distributable revenue refer to those revenue items, the expenditure of which are distributed across activities of the secretariats, departments, and agencies, while the non-distributable revenues refer to inflow of funds that are tied to specific projects, such as the China Exim Bank loan for the Abuja Light Rail project, the Universal Basic Education Fund Counterpart Fund, earnings from COVID-19, sukuk loans, and other non-distributable revenues that are specifically arranged and targeted to specific projects. Accordingly, a fiscal framework of the sum of 607.9 billion, comprising distributable revenue of 370 billion and non-distributable revenue of 238 billion has been proposed for this particular budget after due deliberations with the revenue generating agencies of the Federal Capital Territory Administration. When compared with the revised 2021 appropriation of the sum of 330 billion, there is a substantial increase of 277.9 billion. This increase is as a result of specific items that are unique to this particular budget, and that has to do with a sukuk loan for infrastructure development of about 150 billion, which we are working on, and then anticipated refund from the IPPIS system and taxpayer liability of about 14 billion, as well as a bridging loan that the federal government has made available to all subnationals in the country, of which the FCT share is about 18 billion, and then outstanding refunds from the Paris Club, which is about 6.3 billion, and then finally an expectation of 0.8 billion from refund of liabilities on unpaid ground rents. On table 3, on page 5, you will notice all the items that constitute the major revenue subheads, which we have indicated, and in so doing, we tried to show the revised appropriation in 2021, the actual receipt in 2021, and then the proposals for 2022. On page 6, mean a lot to the city on the details of water. On page 8, I indicated all the activities required under paragraph 20 on the health sector, on paragraph 21, the environmental sector, paragraph 22, the water sector, and paragraph 23, agricultural sector. All these interventions, city economy, and above all, provide the needed infrastructure to take care of the expanding population of the city, which, as we move to 2023, another avalanche of new people will come into the city. And of course, all of us that have come here already are not going anywhere, as you know. So we all need to work together, the parliament, the FCT administration, so that we explore all means of raising revenue. And that is why I'm very happy the current chairman of the FCT Senate Committee played a very significant role in the establishment of the FCT Internal Revenue Service. And I'm sure working together on the landlords in this hall will support us so that we have a very vibrant property taxation system that will ensure that we raise enough revenue that will help us all make Abuja a city that is yours, where you all have investments, where your children will grow and mature and marry and procreate. Have under paragraph 24, what we intend to spend under the Social Development Secretariat. And it's very interesting. 2 decades ago, Abuja was basically a civil servant's town. But as time went by, because everybody drove out of the city or flee out of the city. So it's very important now, and we have realized it. Abuja is now a tourism destination. It's a place where we need to invest more on leisure and leisure facilities. And that's why you will notice that families to relax and indeed even during holidays. And some of the other expenditure in this other secretariats are the Legal Services Secretariat in paragraph 25, Abuja Geographical Information System, paragraph 26, and then the Area Council Services Secretariat on paragraph 17. So take you to the review of the national budget. Like I mentioned, Abuja operates two budget systems. One, based on the we generate and what we earn, you realize that over time, gradually, the development of Abuja has really reduced substantially from the federal government and is mainly now borne by our taxation, our IGR, and all the things that we do. But I am of the view that for the next few years, it is very crucial that federal government funding of the federal capital city continues in earnest, or else we will not be able to really and truly provide the needed infrastructure that is going to cater for this increasing population. So having said that, the federal budget for 2022 gave the FCT administration 59 billion. Compare that with what I just mentioned of about 230 something billion that we generated on our own statutory budget. And for this particular budget, we had a lot of challenges in terms of releases. So out of 59 billion, we actually got 19 billion. So you see, we still have something like 30 billion or thereabouts to be released. But we have assurances that since the budget is still running, by the end of this year, we will be able to get enough releases to make the performance of the budget substantial. And under this particular federal budget of 2022, and overall, you will see that on the extreme right, you will see the total percentage utilization of the budget under each project. For 2023 priority budget, from 59 billion that we got in 2022, the Federal Ministry of Finance has allocated to the FCT 13.5 billion. That is indicated on page 13 under paragraph 29. And these are the key projects that are to be used under this project. There are 22 of them, and the total is 13.5 billion as indicated on the lower part of page 14. So on page 15, which is the last page of this presentation, under paragraph 29, we tried to explain in a little bit more detail some of the projects that are going to be implemented. That has to do with the Mpape Shere Galui Road, as well as a number of other interventions under our Satellite Towns Development Authority, as well as the Greater Abuja Water Supply Project, which is a bilateral initiative with the government of China to enhance water supply in the FCT. The details under Roman figure sub 2 of paragraph 29. In conclusion, distinction to defense is statutory budget as well as the Federal Capital Territory component of the 2023 National Appropriation Bill. It is my conviction that with your legislative and moral support, the development of our by the two committees during our subsequent bilateral meeting. Having said that, I want to use this opportunity once more to thank you most sincerely for the support that we enjoy and we continue to enjoy, both in my personal capacity and also in the capacity of the institution that I represent from you. And I assure you that we'll continue to partner and work very closely with you to ensure that we bequeath for this city what it deserves. Thank you very much.
Came back, you made the refund of money because you stayed, you came back one day earlier and you returned the money. And I said, is this minister Nigerian? They said Nigerian. We thank God we have somebody like you. So you'll have called me to collect the money on behalf of the masses. I will have shared it to the masses. So, Minister, this is how we do our own in the Senate. You know, no hard feelings.
The committee made submissions on how to improve on the various sectors of the FCT economy.
First, I want to commend the Honorable Minister for a job very well done, as emphasized by the chairman of the Senate Committee on FCT. I want to dwell briefly on the issue of agricultural sector within the FCT. I don't really know the extent to which you have gone in that regard, but I can see that sizable amount of money has been earmarked for that. I want to implore you to go beyond production of raw farm produce into agro-allied industries. You can set up agro-allied industries at the rural areas, in particular, the areas like rice milling plants, cashew processing plants, pound yam production, because the raw materials, okay, FCT is endowed with these particular raw materials. I have a little bit of knowledge of the geography of the area. The farm produce, okay, here can be processed into various end products, like I've mentioned. The rice milling, pound yam, cashew processing. Having said that, I also have a little bit of knowledge of the solid mineral endowment of the FCT. And I want to employ you in this regard to go into PPP arrangement, okay, with some of the manufacturing companies, especially in the areas of cement production. I know there is sizable limestone deposit within the FCT at the suburb. I go into cement production under a PPP arrangement. Your counterpart fund can be raised by the debt management office, okay, through development bond, and that will now constitute your equity in the project. All this I'm saying is to see how we can, we can come up with various forms of employment generation within the FCT. Because I also, like I said, my knowledge of FCT, there are so many people out there at the FCT, at the suburb, that do not have jobs. This will create employment opportunities for them. Then the issue of revenue generation, internally generated funds, internally generated revenue. Whatever income you generate from these ventures will also enhance your internally generated funds, which you can use for development both at the metropolis and at the rural areas. On that note, I want to thank you very much once again, and I hope my contribution, like I said, is advisory. I hope it is meaningful. Thank you very much.
It is indeed very commendable, the effort of the Honorable Minister and his team in developing Abuja. My question is, comparing the nature, or considering the nature of Abuja as a cosmopolitan city, from all nook and crannies are being represented within Abuja as a unity city. And going by your revenue and how Abuja is so overstretched with demands, and you are doing your effort, I believe, the revenue being allocated, that's 1% of the federal allocation, I don't think will be suffice. But have you ever made any attempt to see that even through the governors forum, if your revenue should come, that the 1% should be raised to cover the entire 100% allocation of the federation? I think this you should move or find a way to reach them in order to get legislative support from the National Assembly. It will help you in a long way. But, you know, relying only on the 1% of the that's federal government allocation of 52%, I think we better widen to get the entire 100% of the federation allocation. I think that will, you know, give you very ample opportunity of developing Abuja in a very better way. Then, secondly, how optimistic are you that you will be completing most of the ongoing projects around Abuja, the number of flyovers, road developments, lightening the city through provision of both solar and electricity, street lights, and what have you? These are my questions, Mr. Honorable. Thank you.
That affects us in the night assembly. You recall that in the night assembly, we have allocations in Maitama 2, right? When can we mobilize to site and start building there? Because there was an appropriation for the infrastructure in the last appropriation.
My colleagues, it's not in doubt that for all the ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I consider the Minister of State as a very upright person. But Honorable Minister, I'm a bit worried that when the month of October 2022, and we are considering 2022 budget, I think we need to align with the financial year running from January to December. Otherwise, this will amount to distortion of our national economic plans. This is my observation. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, Federal Capital Territory, and your members. First, let me join the chairman to commend you, because some of us have witnessed some form of changes in the Federal Capital Territory, especially as it relates to some of the street lights and roads coming up. We want to commend you. I have just few concerns, and as somebody who loves Abuja, because Abuja remains our center of unity. Abuja remains the image with which the entire world sees us. It's a responsibility of Nigeria and all Nigerians to make this city great. It is not sectional. It's not north, south, southwest, southeast. It's ours. And that's why if you realize 70% of those who come here as federal house members or senators for the first time don't go back. And so the influx into Abuja is so much because it represents all of us. And because of that, for us to make a conscious effort to change completely the budgetary system of Abuja and FCT and give it a special attention, since it's the image of our nation. I think that should be done. I don't want to complain about the amount of money you're talking about. If you convert that in our dollar today, then you know that you're asking for literally nothing compared with the problems in Abuja. And I know over 60% of roads in Abuja that have made it beautiful is not developed. And we have such problems. And look at our central area. Very much concerned. I just imagine that one day will just look like Dubai, some bit of it. But the way the central area land was allocated before your time and the way it was handled has messed up the whole place. So the beauty of Abuja, which starts from that central area, is no longer there. So a conscious effort should be made. And I thought this joint session would have been an opportunity for you to request for some enabling laws to see how we can develop the central area. So we can have some bit of towers and beauty of the city when people come around, while we try to cover our shortcomings in the villages for now. But it's about packaging. The difference between pure water and bottled water is packaging. So I will be happy if this joint session, chairman and co-chairman, to see what we can do really outside this whole conventional camera thing. Let's sit down as a family to think the best for Abuja. And because of the issue of insecurity, there's influx of people into Abuja. And I'm beginning to get worried that in the next 5 years, we might have serious security problems. Because if you go to satellite towns like Nyanya, Karamajiji, and see the kind of number of people there, it gets me worried. And daily, out-of-school children is increasing in a geometrical progression. And when this out-of-school children increases, then the Boko Haramic nature begins to come into the system. So something must be done, and that brings me to my final point of education. I just saw that you put a small amount of 52 billion
for education. Minister, for the sake of those poor children in Kalmajiji and out-of-school children, I want for us to see what we can do, Mr. Chairman, and allocate more for education. Or we're setting another time bomb in the future to come. I've been to Kalmajiji and I see how many children now out of school, not going to school. We pretend that that exists. They're encroaching gradually. And from here to Kalmajiji, for those of you who have not been there, it's less than 7 kilometers. So let us see what we can do to add more from anywhere in the federal budget to put more for education. It will help us a lot. And what makes a capital beautiful, Mr. Minister, is that you come to a place like Abuja, you should see a 7-star hospital, the best in the world. We don't have that. We should see a 7-star hotel. Hilton is not a 3-star hotel. We don't have a 4-star hotel in Nigeria. And we don't have an international conference center in this nation. I mean, in the capital. These are things that woos tourism, and people come for conferencing, and maybe people will come. And, we have a lot to do. So I wish we can just, with you and this joint business, outside the politics of budget, and see how we can help you. They've set up the proper foundation for development of Abuja. But meanwhile, let me commend all of you for your job once and thank you.
Minister's Hill, the houses around there was supposed to be, there was a green area there that a motion was brought to preserve it. But to my greatest dismay, everything has been built around there now. And we see the effect of climate change in Abuja. Abuja gets very, very hot. So what is the ministry doing to preserve the green areas and the environment? And then lastly, on the resettlement of the Abuja indigents, in Gusape, a lot of people have land they cannot claim because the indigents keep claiming they've not been resettled, and it's all around the city. What are you doing about? I know you've done some efforts, but they keep saying up to now we have not been resettled. We have not been resettled, and even if you have land allocation there, you can't claim it. So these are just the 3 issues: the transportation, the timeline for Abuja Light Rail, the green areas. What's happening to the green areas? Is there a policy to preserve green areas in Abuja? And then thirdly, the issue on resettlement.
Thank you once more. This is an opportunity for us to introspect on the appropriation here